Today we're going to talk about marital rape. It's always a fun subject.
For you.
I think marital rape isn't logically possible.
Oh, Jesus, Lord, keep me close to the cross.
And that marital rape laws aren't necessary. They serve no purpose in terms of sex within marriage.
Now that I agree with. Marital rape laws seem redundant and stupid. If you force someone to have sex with you, it's fucking rape, period. So yeah, that she is right on. Perfectly fine with that.
A lot of people on Twitter and other places on the internet got really mad at me for saying that, which is, you know, sort of par for the course.
Oh yeah, because who could possibly have a problem with someone saying that marriage automatically equals consent to sex? Who could possibly have a problem with that? Only an SJW or a feminist would disagree with this shit.
But a lot of other people said that they didn't really understand my argument, or that they just plainly didn't agree with it, which means I didn't make my argument very well.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure you made your argument really easy to understand. Someone could make an argument that drinking your own piss is actually good for you, and say it as eloquently as Morgan Freeman reciting poetry. But guess what? A lot of people aren't going to agree with what you said, because what was said is still complete batshit.
My argument is this, in essence, that marriage is consent. And if marriage is consent, then rape within marriage isn't possible. The essential syllogism at play here is that marriage equals consent, and therefore you can't rape someone while you are legally married to them. It's not a logical possibility. Now, the big objection that I got from a lot of people was that marriage doesn't equal consent. Well, yes it does, actually.
What the fuck?
Oh my fucking god! But you know what, let me just calm down. If this was factual, which it is fucking not, you would probably have a leg to stand on, but you don't. It's not factual. There's no law that says you have got to fuck your spouse. So basically what you're saying is just your fucking opinion and your warped view of marriage. And no one should have to adhere to that shit.
And it doesn't even depend on how you define the word consent. I'm using what I would call assumed consent. That within marriage, you have the assumption of consent from your partner.
Oh, was there any, like, documents on that? Documentation? Facts? Show me your receipts. I want the receipts.
The real question is, can you withdraw that consent? That's the issue.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna give her a chance. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like this answer.
So it's not about whether or not consent exists in marriage. Is marriage consent to sex? Yes, it is.
No, it's not!
The question is, can you withdraw that consent? Now, that will depend on how you think about marriage. Now, there's sort of two basic ways that you can think about marriage within the context of discussing sexual consent, okay? So the first way, you can think of marriage as being like the military. You do not have to join the military. But once you do, once you sign the papers, once you sign, you enlist, it's done. The army no longer needs your consent. You will obey the orders of your superiors because that is what you have agreed to do by enlisting. That's the deal. Nobody needs your consent after you have made that initial agreement.
Call me crazy. I'm not a married person, so forgive my naivete. But the last time I checked, marriage was about unity, was about coming together, becoming a solid team, becoming equal. And I thought the army was about taking orders and becoming a subordinate to your superior officer. So remember, everyone, as soon as you get married, you owe sex without question. Shut the fuck up, follow the orders of your superior officer, get your genitals ready, and get to work.
Your consent to obey orders of superiors is withdrawn the moment you are discharged from the military. Honorably, dishonorably, it doesn't matter. You no longer are assumed to consent to orders once you are discharged from the military. I call that a sort of institutional view of marriage. Marriage is an institution that you do not have to join, but once you have joined, there are certain expectations, there are certain rules. You have certain obligations. That includes the obligation to consent to sex.
No. You're obligated to be faithful, you're obligated to love that person, and you're obligated to not fucking hurt them. That's just me. But that's just fucking me.
Now, under that condition, the only way that you can withdraw your consent to sex is to get a divorce, dissolve the marriage. That ends your consent to sex.
What?
You're comparing an institution that's all about subordinates and following orders, doing your job without question, to an institution about unity and love and respect and equality. between, like, what the fuck are you even talking about? What are you talking?
Now, a lot of people were a little bit concerned, saying, okay, so wait a minute. If you're legally married and you get separated and you file for divorce, but the divorce isn't final and your husband has sex with you, that's not rape. Like, well, actually, no, it's not. Yeah, your consent doesn't evaporate, or your consent isn't revoked until the actual divorce decree is issued.
So hold up. Is this fucking bitch really saying that you are not allowed to say no? So what you're saying is, if they get separated, they both hate each other's fucking guts, but one motherfucker comes to the other motherfucker's house and forces them to have sex, it's still not rape because the divorce isn't final yet? What the fuck? All I can do right now is just make this face. Just...
That doesn't matter. It makes no difference. And I'll explain why a little further along.
Oh, you're gonna explain? Okay, explain. Because all your arguments so far have totally made fucking sense.
Now, the other way of thinking about marriage is more of a transactional, a situational experience. So I'll use, for example, an analogy is my martial arts classes.
Really, nigga?
When I went to my martial arts classes, I went to the gym, I had to sign a waiver. I had to sign a waiver that said I understood that I was going to get kicked, I was going to get punched, I might get shoved around, I might end up hurt or injured, and that I couldn't hold the gym or any of the instructors liable. So in effect, I am consenting to be assaulted, which means it's not assault. Right? You see, logically, it can't be. You can't consent to assault.
And not really. Because if you're in a karate class, there's a limit to what you can do. When you fight someone, you have to stay within the confines of that lesson. But if they go too far outside of the restrictions of the actual lesson that you were having, and you keep beating someone's fucking ass after the instructor says stop, then that's assault. You fucking... Oh my fucking god, it's like your brain has been replaced by 1,000 bumblebees buzzing at once. So, for example, last Tuesday, we were learning how to throw short descending knees, like in a sort of Muay Thai way. These are very, very effective strikes from a really close distance when you're really in close on someone. So my instructor threw that knee and just smoked me in the thigh, and it fucking killed. Oh my god. Yeah, you getting to a point? Because I'm getting really fucking bored here. Well, he hammers me in the thigh in the exact same place he just fucking dug that knee in. So, I didn't complain because I'm not some kind of little faggot girl fighter who can't, you know, take what she dishes out, and believe me, I'll dish it back. I am the one why your son don't need a gun. Yeah, you feminist ladies, you can handle your man raping you, but I can because I'm not some faggot bitch. But I could have. I could have said, okay, you know what? The first knee strike was painful. Class is over. I no longer consent to this. Had he continued and struck me those next few times, that would have been assault because I have withdrawn my consent. I can withdraw my consent at any time. That's an absolutely insane way to consider marriage, because how are you going to prove it? If each and every time you have sex with your spouse, you are potentially liable for producing evidence that she or he consented to that activity, how are you going to prove it? I mean, even if you have recorded, literally recorded, you have webcam video of every single time you have ever had sex with your spouse, all I have to do is say, oh, well, I knew he was taping it and he told me if I didn't act as if I liked it, he would kill me. You know, that's just a crazy way to think about marriage. What she said can be applied to any romantic relationship. Someone could make that same bullshit claim if they've been in a relationship for a few months, a few years, whatever, and not even be married. Rape is still a tricky thing to prosecute. It's still a tricky thing to prove. Marriage or not, what fucking point do you have? What's the fucking point? It's not a situation you find yourself in. It's not a set of obligations that you can just simply decide don't apply anymore. It doesn't work like that. It can't work like that. So marriage is an institution.
like the army.
That's not how it works! Because like I said, that would imply that someone is subordinate and someone is the superior.
It's institutional. The only functional way to think about marriage is as an institution that comes with obligations, including consent to sex. And that consent cannot be withdrawn except by dissolving the marriage. So that makes rape, marital rape, a logical impossibility.
This fucking glorified Facebook wine mom is basically saying you cannot say no to sex to your partner, and the only way you can say no is by getting a divorce. Oh, God!
Shut the fuck up. You're a fucking cunt.
You can't rape if consent is part of what the institution is.
Like I said, that's your fucking opinion.
So think about what rape is. It's forced sex, non-consensual sex, sex against your will. How can you force someone to have sex against their will if you can't force them? You can't use force. Force is assault. You literally put one finger on me and you have assaulted me. So how can you force someone to have sex without assaulting them? You can't. There's no need for marital rape laws because assault laws already have that covered.
Are you retarded? Are you retarded?
So how can you force someone to have sex without assaulting them? You can't.
Oh, God! There are ways to do it without leaving a fucking mark, you idiots. Sometimes people don't have to get punched in the face to be raped. There are people who are drugged and roofied, or just merely threatened. I mean, she's criticizing feminists for marital rape laws, but in the same vein, she's like, oh, well, marriage makes all the difference in whether or not you're raped. So you're basically you're just doing what they're doing. You're just doing what they're doing. You're doing the exact same fucking thing. You're buying into their They're saying that rape is situational, and you're saying rape is situational. You're both doing the same thing, but differently. She's looking at this through a man versus woman lens. Instead of just coming out and saying, oh, yeah, these fucking feminists coming out and saying these marital rape laws, that's bullshit, because marital rape laws are redundant. Rape is rape. There should be no special laws for married people. But no, instead she does this me-so-edgy bullshit where it's like, marital rape doesn't even exist. All you feminists are just faggot bitches. This is what I've gathered from anti-feminists and anti-social justice warriors like her. They don't care about bringing facts. They just want to be the exact opposite of feminism. Oh yeah, I'll just combat their extreme with another extreme, and then boom, I triggered those feminist bitches. Like, oh, the grass looks especially green today. No, it's not. The grass is red, bitch. Did I trigger you? Oh, Top Cat.
I am the one your son don't need a gun.
That's not how this shit works. You're supposed to just argue the point. Argue the point. And make sense. That's it. That's fucking it. Yep, video over. I just can't take this shit anymore. I can't take it anymore. I can't.
Shut the fuck up.